We're along Bayou St. John. I'm Munson Tim Chauvin for our New Orleans walks, and this is Moss Street. Moss Street follows along Bayou St. John on both sides, and this little bayou here is really the reason that the city of New Orleans gets put where it is. Remember, the city of New Orleans, there is a decision that is made essentially by one person, Bienville, who decided that New Orleans is going to be where it is. And this was for the French to control access to the Gulf from the interior of the continent, to control the river itself, and to really control the vast lands that are drained by the Mississippi River between the Appalachians and the Rocky Mountains, all the way up to Canada. And so they're trying to figure out, they need a capital city for this interior of the continent, and they want it on the Mississippi River as close to the mouth as possible. The problem is, when you get close to the mouth of the river, there's not a lot of land down there. The real solid ground is all the way up in Baton Rouge. It takes them about 20 years before they make this decision, but this bayou here is one of the reasons they make the decision to put the city where it is, because the bayou is connected to the lake. The lake is connected to the Gulf of Mexico. Lake Pontchartrain, which is in the direction that I'm pointing now, is really a bay off of the Gulf. And the Native Americans showed Iberville and Bienville this route. There's a flotilla of canoes coming up this bayou in 1699, and the Native Americans are explaining to Iberville and Bienville that this is a back door to the Mississippi River. Now, the bayou doesn't go all the way to the Mississippi River, but it gets close enough, and it gets close enough to a ridge that's a little bit further up. As you look the bayou this way, you can see the skyline to the city. That is the Cabrini Bridge, sometimes known as the Magnolia Bridge, a pedestrian bridge that crosses the bayou that we see here. Now, just past that bridge is what is known as the Portage, which is a ridge of land near where Grand Route St. John is located, Bell Street, DeSoto Street. That area is where they would take their canoes out of the bayou and then walk all the way to the Mississippi River in the area right around where the French market is located today. You see, the Native Americans actually used that area along the river as a trading ground long before there was even a city here. So Bienville, when he made this decision, it's like, well, there's high enough land right here along the river. The area where we are now was actually surrounded mostly by a cypress swamp. But that area along the river was high enough. We'll put a city here. So they planned it out, and that French quarter's laid out in this grid, and they established this sort of fortress city right on the Mississippi River, because this back door allowed them to get to the Gulf of Mexico a lot easier than trying to come up the river. All right, so access to the Gulf from the back of the city through the bayou, and from the front from the Mississippi River. By the way, along the bayou here is the Pitot House, which is named after one of the early mayors of the city. And this house is actually part of the headquarters for the Louisiana Landmark Society. The house was built in 1799, and this is a West Indies style home that is right here on the bayou. They actually do tours of the home. And when I say West Indies style home, so this is what a lot of the houses in New Orleans would look like. What's interesting is this house is, a little over 2 miles from the French Quarter, and it's one of the older houses in the city. And you could see that great gallery that goes all the way around the house. You could see the big openings all the way around both floors of the house. You would open up all of those openings on a hot summer day like today, let the breeze go right through the home.